Hello dear students, good morning. This is Rupesh and I am a faculty of Mount Literacy School, and in this video we will be studying more about second law of Newton. So second law of Newton state that the rate of change of linear momentum is directly proportional to the force applied, and the change takes place in the direction of force, that is F is equal to, or basically according to the law of second law of motion, which I have already taught you, and from there we have derived F is equal to ma, and F is equal to mv minus mu upon t. Basically this is called as the change of momentum, and this is time taken. This is the time taken to change the momentum. Okay, so you can also write F is equal to delta p upon delta t. What does this delta p indicate? That is change of momentum, and this indicates the change in time. That means how long it has taken the time, that is the time in which this momentum has changed, right? So F is delta p upon delta t. So from here we are concluding something like F is equal to mv minus mu upon t, right? If suppose you take a condition, suppose there is a ball which is coming here and you have to catch the ball. You have to catch it, right? Now when you are going to catch it, suppose its initial velocity, means the velocity before it touches your hand, that is the initial velocity I'm saying. So the initial velocity is say u, and finally you are bringing this ball to rest, that is final velocity will become 0, right? So if the mass of the ball is m, then the change of momentum will be, that is mv minus mu, that will be the change of momentum. Like if the change of momentum will be like mv, that is final mass into final velocity, that is 0, minus m into u, that is m into u, so it will be minus mu. Now this will be the change in momentum if a ball strikes your hand with velocity u and finally you stops it. Now this change of momentum remains, suppose it will remain constant, because the velocity with which it is going to strike your hand is u, and finally you are bringing it to rest. It will remain constant whatever time you takes to stop the ball. Now if you take longer time to stop the ball, then also the change in momentum will be constant. If you will stop the ball suddenly, or if you will stop the ball at once, then also the change in momentum is going to remain the same, because you are stopping the ball from initial velocity u. So this change of momentum is, suppose this change of momentum, that is delta p, if it becomes constant, if I am making this delta p as constant, then force will be inversely proportional to time period, as you can see, right? This has become constant, and now the force will be directly proportional to 1 upon force will be inversely proportional to time period. Now more time, less will be the force, and lesser time, more will be the force. So if you are bringing this change of momentum in a smaller time period, then this force will be, the force exerted will be more. And if you are making this change in momentum in a bigger time, that is more time you are taking to bring the change in the momentum, then this force will get minimized, that force is going to get decreased. Is it clear? So what we have understood here, that force is inversely proportional to time period if delta p is constant. Now what are the impacts of this? The impact of this, the first one, if suppose you have seen that a bowler, the wicket keeper or the catch, the person or the fielder who take catches, right? When he take the catch or when he stops the ball, he takes his hand backward. He moves his hand backward while stopping the ball. That is a general phenomena. All of you must have done that in your practical life as well. While you catching the ball, we take our hands a little backward and we try to stop the ball slowly. Slowly means we increase the time period in which the ball stops. Why we do so, and why those cricketers do so? That is to increase the time period. If they will increase the time period, then what will happen? Because since the force has now become inversely proportional to time period, because delta p is constant, so when you are going to increase the time period, the force exerted on the hand by the ball and the force exerted by them will be less. So there will be a less impact of force on their hand, so that will prevent them from getting hurt. Is it clear? Now this is the same reason This is the same reason why shockers are provided in the bikes. The shockers are provided in the bike because once that bike comes in some ditches, right, there is or the speed breakers or anything like that, okay, that is if the road is not uniform, right? So what happens if your body is going to suddenly come to rest, that is the time period will decrease, right? The time period will become almost zero. If your body suddenly comes to rest, then what is going to happen? The force will become maximum, and if the force become maximum, then you will get a greater impact on your back, on your body. So to avoid that, the shockers are provided so that shockers get compressed and they increase the time period for your body to come to rest. And what happens then? The force becomes minimal because force is inversely proportional to time period. This is the same reason why a person, when he jumps on concrete, he gets more hurt than when he jumps on sand. Why? When he jumps on sand, what happens? The sand get compressed and the time taken by that by the person to stop or to come to rest increases, and when the time period increases, the body becomes the force becomes lesser, and the impact of the force on the body is less. So that person that prevents you from getting hurt. If you jump on a sand or some soft material, if you jump directly on the concrete from a height that is means a considerable height, so that is going to give you more hurt, right? That is going to hurt you more, sorry. So I hope you are understanding this, right? So this is one of the you can say the application of second law of Newton, that is force is directly proportional to mv minus mu upon t. Is it clear? So I hope this thing has become clear to you guys. Right, now I'll tell you what is third law of motion and what does third law of motion states. The third law of motion is also given by Sir Isaac Newton, and third law of motion is very simple, that is to every action there is always an equal and opposite reaction. So to every action there is always an equal and opposite reaction. So this is basically the third law of motion, and in our next video lecture we are going to discuss more about this third law of motion. Till then, bye bye dear students.